This is something that that's a little daunting. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else is going to come out here. It is 4 o'clock. So if people want to come in person, they can. But I am here to talk to everyone, both in person and outside in the world through the ethers. My name is Sharron Britton, and I have been collecting, selling, using, and loving rocks, stones, and minerals for many years. Actually, since I was a little girl, and I don't need to tell y'all how many years ago that was. Lots of them. Have tons of collections. We go to North Carolina every year, go to the rock shops. They had mines there you could go to and pick through the tailings and find really cool stuff. So I really like that. And I've lived a life going through all sorts of different things, doing jobs with good and noble social causes and nonprofits and different kinds of things. But the happiest I have ever been is when I stopped doing all that and put a few rocks out in, a store my brother was trying to start in a teeny little town called High Springs, Florida. And it was in the middle of nowhere. I'm not kidding. But people loved the rocks and they kept coming and they wanted more and more. And that made me happy. So I started going and gathering more of them that were my personal collection. And people came to me and brought things for me to buy that were wonderful. And all of a sudden, here I am with a crystal shop and a real mineral shop, because I wanted the kind they weren't around when I was a little girl, where you talk to old geologists and people who were working and they were retired and they had all these rocks they collected and big piles of stuff you could go through and dusty shells to find treasures. That was a really wonderful thing. So I have had at the shop everything, all kinds of rocks, the polished ones that people seem to truly love, the rare mineral specimens that many of us geek out over, the ones that are really powerful for people who want to do metaphysical work and shamanic work. So I brought some things with me today to show you and talk to you about. And we will be having a little fabulous crystal trunk show that will be happening on Tuesday. People who are here in person can get some of them today. And if any of you who have joined by Zoom see something that you want or really must have, you can call Circles and say, hold that for me, and they will be glad to accommodate you. So let me get started. The workshop that I did today was on the crystals that are called Lemurian crystals. Let's go to Lemuria. And a couple of you who are sitting in here with me participated in that workshop, and we built a really wonderful crystal grid, among other things. So I won't tell you the whole story about Lemuria because we wouldn't have time to get to any of the other rocks if I did. But the Lemurian seed crystals are very beautiful. They're very much craved and desired by everyone who does metaphysical work with quartz crystals. And you will hear people in some places call pretty much everything a Lemurian, because people who sell rocks and minerals are not doing it for free. They want to make money. And people who are really interested in Lemurian crystals and that whole aspect of crystal being will happily pay for them. So the first thing I want to tell you all is, if you get one, it's a good idea to get one that is real. How do I do that, you might ask? You must trust your vendor. The original Lemurian seed crystals came from one place only, and that is in the Serra do Cabral mountain of Brazil. And these crystals were found in the early 90s and sent over to Catalina Rafael, who did a lot of, work with the crystals and still does. She has a crystal temple in Hawaii. And she came out of that and discerned that these crystals were left by the Lemurians. When the Lemurian civilization left, they seeded certain spots so that all the crystal knowledge and information that they brought here would not be lost when Lemuria was swept over by the tsunami. And that lies in the collective consciousness and myths and legends, and is truly wonderful. And note that if I say something is a myth, it doesn't mean it's not true. It means it has a different kind of truth than that which can be proven and replicated in a lab. So the original Lemurian seed crystals were usually always laser shaped. In other words, they're wider at the base than they are at the tip. They had a matte finish rather than being all shiny, and you can see that this sort of glows. It doesn't sparkle and gleam. Now, when it's polished, it's beautifully clear and sparkly. But if you polish it, you take away a lot of the things that you can help to identify it as a Lemurian. The Lemurian crystals have on every third side horizontal lines. And these lines are called by geologists muso lines. But they're often called by metaphysical workers Lemurian lines for obvious reasons. It has been said, if you hold the right Lemurian in your hand, you will not put it down. And I personally have found that to be true. They are wonderful. And you can see that some of them, hey, some of them have a seed. And quite sweet. So I have several flats of original Lemurians that came from the Serra do Cabral Mountains in Brazil. And these at this point are almost impossible to find because they have been mined out for many years. The Lemurians generally that you might see in a crystal store are not from that mine unless someone has old stock. And oftentimes you might luck into that. It's a good thing. In fact, those of you who are here today and want Lemurians have lucked into that because I brought quite a bit of old stock Lemurians that are natural and not priced up into the range of obscenity. So, like this one, which is beautiful, and you can see it sort of glowing pink, is $145. And that is hopefully a good deal for a Lemurian crystal. I'm going to show you some other kinds and other things and open up the floor to questions too. So if anybody has one, feel free to just ask. You don't have to wait for me to say something. I want to show you this because it is really wonderful. This one is called amphibole quartz, and it comes from Brazil. And amphibole quartz, amphibole is interesting because it is it's filled with minerals that are asbestos based. Now many people go, ooh, asbestos, because, you know, and if you read those lists of and most toxic minerals and all of that stuff, you'll see this stuff on there. But it is not toxic and it will not hurt you. And no. Asbestos, if it is locked up in a quartz crystal, is just beautiful. You can't breathe little fibers from it. That's how it hurts you. So these crystals, if you look at it, it looks like almost, they've always reminded me of sunset, and they carry the energy of fire. And asbestos, in and of itself, its nature, is a fireproof mineral. It's protected against the, shall we say, painful effects of fire and becoming burned. So I recommend using these. They're very good for working with fire and fire energy and fire magic. And I'm not here going to go into tons and tons of specifics about here's how you do this, because this isn't a workshop. It's just talking to you about the crystal. These became very popular a few years ago, but most all of them you would find were polished. And I like to find and work with natural crystals. So I searched very hard, high and low, to find them. Well, I'm going to see and tell me if this doesn't work. Bob says if you come up and put this up at the camera, how do you put this up at the camera? Where's the camera? There it is, the owl's eye. I'm trying to work, okay, there you go. I'm hoping you all can see, those of you following on Zoom, how beautiful and how cool this asbestos is. And if you want to come see these in person, come on Tuesday when we have the sale. I have several of these that are available. Okay, next, I have something very wonderful to show you. And these are just magical. I got these many years ago. And if you look at them, you will see but this is a quartz crystal. And it has been rounded and tumbled in the cataracts of the Brazilian River. Very wonderful. For a while, they used to have these things they would call window crystals. I don't know if you all remember them, but they would put, just quartz in a tumbler until it looked like this, and then make a slice. But these are the real deal. These are natural. And that's the inside. And let's see if I can show you how cool it is. Can you see how pretty that is? There we go. Oh, this way. And there's the outside. Okay, I'll get this, I promise. Which looks like you can see the crystal shape and formation. So I have several of these. And for those of you who like to work with the element of water and earth, very powerful and wonderful. Like this one just fits in your hand so beautifully and feels so good. I'll put that one down. Let's see. Oh, these will be harder to show you, but I shall. These are Brandenburg crystals. And many people who both love rocks and minerals and collect quartz and who work with crystals love the Brandenburg crystals because these crystals were formed, they are very old, and they formed in conditions where the water was particularly clear and pure. And you will see, like this one has all these amethyst phantoms in them, and it has little water bubbles in them that go back and forth, and little tiny dots of goethite down at the bottom, which is a variety of iron. And they have a very high, strong energetic signal. And these are the kinds of crystals that if you find one that feels right for you and bonds with you, you can work with it to do pretty much whatever you want. And I like that. And I did bring several of these. This particular one around the bottom has some little dots of prehnite, which is very cool. And these come from the Galapagos, I think I pronounced it correctly, mountains in Namibia. And I have that one, but I also have, for those of you who are fond of, where is it? Yes, scepter quartz and celestials. Look at this one. Can you see how there's a scepter? And if you look into this crystal, which I can't show you, I know that camera will not show you that. You'll have to come down in person to see this one. It's really cool. All around is a crystal. And on top of this crystal, and you can see that crystal going up in there, is another crystal that is grown. And this is a smoky celestial. Very clear. Celestial crystals are very magical. Many people like to use them for going back and dealing with past lives. They are very helpful because in doing this work, they're also nice and smoky, particularly in helping you stay grounded while you're doing it, which can be very challenging for many of us. In my rock shop, I have a lot of people who come through the door. You can tell their feet haven't touched the ground in many years. And they're living from here on up. And whereas people have the right to choose how they're going to live, and there's nothing wrong with that or intrinsically evil, it can definitely be a problem because it is easy to take leave of our common shared reality with other human beings. And we need to maintain our blessed community with more strength rather than more fragmentation, anger, and fear. So the scepters really indicate a step towards rulership of our own natures. It does not mean I rule over others. It means I am in charge of my own being, of my own actions. I will do my best to be aware of them, act out of clear motivation, and to own whatever it is that I bring to any situation I'm in. And I love these crystals, and this one in particular is just singing out to me today. I also have, this is a really wonderful little cluster. Look at that little scepter sitting there on the top, pointing up like a king. And this is just a little cluster of clear quartz with amethyst scepter on the top. So I just wanted to show you a few of those, and we have many more to look at. So I'm going to get up and walk around and talk about some of these other things. So this is one of my very favorite crystals. This is atacamite. And atacamite is another crystal that you cannot get any longer unless you can find old stock. You can find from other places, but this particular atacamite comes from the Atacama Desert in Peru. I mean Chile, on my case. And that is one of the driest places on earth. It's high, 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 and it has amazing minerals, a lot of copper-based minerals. But look how beautiful that is. I'm going to see if I can get it up so that y'all can see it. It's really wonderful. And this is one of the, I've got a few of these kinds of minerals. Atacamite is a shamanic ally. And it is really wonderful for helping you understand what your path is. The dry, dry desert. And here you have this stone that is filled with green. Indicates that these things, everything contains everything else in its opposite. Those people who are drawn towards the transmutation of energy, which means shifting energy that is perceived as very negative in a certain point and place in time, into an energy that is tolerable, clear, clean, leading to a better place. This stone is a really good ally. I mean, if you're imagining, you're out in the middle of the desert, where's the water? Well, it's there. You have to be able to envision it. You have to believe it. And then you have to bring it forth. So for those sorts of works, we need all the help we can get. And I did bring a few pieces of that. This is another wonderful tool. And this is scolecite from India. Scolecite is one of the many zeolites you will find in India, which has some of the finest in the world. And this one is covered with beautiful golden calcite. And you can see there's also a little bit of hematite in there, which provides for some grounding and some energy. And the scolecite itself just pours into white light. So it's a very good tool to use for, if you do energy work, you can use it to stream in white light and enhance the aura that is surrounding your client or yourself, if you want to do that. And the golden calcite is a stone of ascension, and it allows for the mind to be calm and clear. As many of us know, a mind that is agitated or full of other things will not always serve you well and get you where you need to go. So you need to be able to let that go. Not beating yourself up like you ever tried to meditate. Like, I can't meditate. Did I leave the stove on? Let it go. If you left the stove on, you left it on. It's not going to hurt you unless it's gas. But this stone is truly, truly wonderful. And I'm just telling you all about this. The ones that you choose to work with will attract you because they're beautiful. They'll attract you because on some level you need them and you want to find out what that need is. And it's one of the ones that wanted to come. So let's see. I'm going to show you this way. See how beautiful that is? And I have two of these available. This one has a lot of calcite. And this one over here does have some calcite, but that one is stream the white light. And they're both the way they were made. One of the reasons I picked up this particular flat is because they fit in your hand, so they're easy to work with. Now, this, I have to take it out very gently, is one of my favorite stones there is. And this is called crocite. Those of you who are not familiar with it, crocite is a part of one of the primary ores of lead. And this is found, pretty much all of it, although there are in minor quantities in Tasmania. And the mine that this one comes from is the red lead mine. And these are really cool because these crystals, which you truly can't get anymore, one of the things but I brought with a lot of old stock that is rare now, and they're hollow. So people who like to do shamanic breath work and use it to do all kinds of things. Your imagination is your only limit, but it's important to remember it's a primary ore of lead. Now, when you read all those stupid articles all over the internet about the most dangerous crystals in the world and blah, 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 it's important to remember that most of these things we need in our bodies, but in the right quantity. And holding a crystal in your hand is not going to hurt you in any way, period. There are very few crystals that could be harmful, and none of them are here with me. The crocolite is a stone that resonates with the sacral chakra, and it is perputed to awaken the kundalini, the energy of fire that lies at the base of our spine and rises up and brings that instant kind of enlightenment. Kundalini energy, fire energy. I had a very good friend who, when my son was a baby, she came and cleaned my house, but she had been a student and was an adept at Kundalini yoga. And her teacher was castigated by all of his peers in India for bringing Kundalini yoga to the West. Because he said Westerners were in no way ready for this or had the kind of self-discipline necessary, which may well have been true. But that doesn't mean that you sit on it. If the energy causes issues and problems, you can't deal with them unless you know what they are. Things that lie beneath too long grow toxic. This is a wonderful stone. And most people, when they think of Kundalini, they think of sex. And that is a powerful part of it. Our sexual energy, what comes and springs from the root and the union of opposites, when both become one. And incredible energy and fire is released. And using Kundalini and using that as a tool with crocite, which supports and guides it, can be very powerful and very helpful to people who are feeling lagging in their sexual being, who want that to be there, but for whatever reason have become separated from it, distanced from it. And here we are just fed sex so people will buy things. Or, young women are going and getting injections of bizarre things all over their bodies so that they can look and feel sexual. And men are taking pills because they're not a full human being if they cannot do for all night long what they used to be able to do when they were 20. And our sexuality is not like that. It has a rhythm, it has a flow, and it is best used in search of that which is greater than ourselves, and that includes a lover and a partner that we care about, honor, and respect. So crocite is a really wonderful tool for tuning into all those aspects that we tend to forget. And honestly, speaking for myself, the older you get, the more you tend to forget. It's not easy, and this is especially true for women, but it's also true for men. When you get older, you feel less desirable. So the way we protect ourselves from that is feeling less desire. No, we need to live our lives as fully as we possibly can. So waken that energy. This is a great way to do it. And these crystals are, again, quite rare. Not everything I brought was really rare, but enough. Over here, this is just a sweet little piece of what they call gerasol quartz. Are y'all familiar with that? Gerasol quartz, gerasol means water. It's important to say that it is not opal. However, if you look at a sphere, and I got this one because it had a really, see how pretty it is? When you look at it, it's a great sphere for both meditation and for people who like to learn to scribe. Because when you gaze into it, do your breathing and focus, you'll say, okay, that looks like it's bluish. And also you go, no, that's red. But wait, I'd say some green in there, and it will shift. So that extra vision that we see out of the corners of our eyes, can be focused in the crystal. And those people who are gifted and are wishing to open the gateways for scrying, this is a really helpful tool or ally. It also represents the element of water, the moon, and aspects of the divine feminine. And it's quite a wonderful crystal. So I collect spheres, and I did bring a few for people to see and play with if they want to. Okay. I also brought, because I love them, moonstone sphere. And this is peach moonstone from Madagascar. Moonstone is a variety of feldspar, is one of the more common elements on Earth. But when it comes together in the right way, it makes beautiful movements of the light they call chatoyancy. And hold it up, and you can see how the light just moves in it. And that inner light like that, it's called moonstone because it resembles the moon, which light comes from reflecting the light of the sun. And it also represents energy of the divine feminine. And the phases and cycles of the moon with the peach moonstone, representing the aspect of the triple goddess that is the mother, the sacral chakra, which is where we connect with our children in the womb, should we choose to have them. The beautiful peach color, which is the sacral chakra color. And this particular one has that nice pearlescent gray that I love so much in it too. And I've got a couple of these with me. Over here. And I know you're not going to see this, so I'll pass it along so you can look at it. This is Numite. Are y'all familiar with Numite? Well, Numite is just incredibly cool. This is one of those cosmic minerals. And it's found in Greenland. These were, found there in Inuit mine. And they have wonderful little sparkles of light in them, and reds, golds, blues. And they really can help you communicate with the spirits all over. They are, I'll pass this around and you can feel it. And Numite is almost gone now, you can't get it. There's still some tumbles left, and this is old stock, so these tumbles are decent shape and not ridiculously priced, which we kind of like. So I got as many of those as I could. And I'll try to get some more when I go to Tucson, but no promises. Okay, this is a wonderful thing. This is sugilite in its natural state. And you can see it's on this wonderful matrix, and you can see how beautiful the color is. So it's actually, quite gemmy, and it has a wonderful energy and power. Sugilite exemplifies the deep power of love and how it manifests in the highest realms, but that we bring it forward into our own beings, into our own bodies, into our own hearts, and then can work with it, use it. So I was very fortunate to be able to buy a flat of these for a price that is truly reasonable. And because as anyone knows who's tried to buy it, good luck. Unless you're very rich. People who are very rich can generally buy most of the things they want to. Okay, now I know some of y'all are interested in herderite. Yes. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about herderite. It is one of my favorite stones. It's one of the things I collect. Herderite is a stone of high ascension. It will take you where you need and want to be. If you were called to the shamanic path, herderite will take you for a ride and bring you right there. If you wish to work on a path as a healer, if you wish to, whatever it is you want to do, herderite will take you where you need to be, and you don't need to be in your body to go there. But I brought some with me. Let me see if I can. This is a very large cluster of herderite crystals that came from Afghanistan, mostly green. See if I can Okay, over there. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see that it is, those of you who know what herderite looks like, that's pretty sizable. And you'll be able to come and look at all of these as soon as I'm done and wander and check out all of the treasures in the boxes. I also have some very wonderful combination pieces that are collector's specimens. This is from Pakistan, and this one is beautiful. Has topaz, quartz, green herderite. Really nice. And these will take you to another dimension for sure. And for those who are interested and don't wish to spend lots of money, I have some quite reasonable pieces from Brazil that aren't perfect crystals, and they are the purple herderite. And they work really well for hand pieces, laying on pieces, put them on your altar, work with them as you will. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you. If I can find out what it's over. Okay. Many of you have heard of the aholite from South Africa, which is no longer being mined. And aholite has a companion mineral that's even rarer called papagoite. Some people who work in metaphysics feel that aholite brings in the feminine energy. In other words, being able to open to the guides and the shamanic realms that you need to. And that papagoite is the masculine, able to move forward and use it. And they work together very well. Try to have them both together. Yes. So these pieces are incredibly rare, and you can Google them and look them up and see how much they cost me. And I was really lucky. And I have a friend who went to South Africa when they were first being mined and had a bunch of it. And so these pieces I bought flat from him many, many years ago and put them aside. And they are wonderful. You can see the cobalt blue of the papagoite down at the bottom. The energy is amazing. They're alive. And I have priced them ridiculously low so that everyone who wants a piece of this can have it, which is not generally the case, but I want these to get out into the world. It's important. So I have a whole flat of them sitting here over here. Next, I have these wonderful green quartzes from Madagascar. And these have both epidote and green chlorite. And I haven't been able, you can't get these anymore either, because I, have got to buy a whole bunch and, flat by flat, sell them at the store, but I have some left over. So I have not raised the prices, and they are wonderful for doing dream work. And as you can see, they have that beautiful green color. So green is a color for both growth and healing, particularly of the heart. So many times, in our dreams, we can see things that don't appeal to us all that much, or are based on things in the past that are trying to come back into our conscious awareness. And this allows us to heal and receive them in the spirit of grace. So you can work with that energy and find it a source of succor and energy and guidance, rather than fear to go to sleep, going crazy, grinding your teeth. Because, we're all going to need all the grace we can get. It's important. And I have little ones and I have big ones. Over here, I have some more of the aholite and papagoite pieces. This is a crystal with aholite in it, and it also has a little papagoite in it. And these, now I'm going to show you one of my favorite minerals. This is shadakite, these little spheres. And shadakite is a shamanic ally. Shadakite will help you when you're in the other realms. It will be by your side. It will guide you, and it is always positive and helpful. because there's so much trickster energy swirling about now in our cauldron of chaos, some of us who are doing this kind of work can really use a little bit of help. And I have always had shadow kites here, always. I love them. Another mineral I collect. And I have worked with it extensively. This particular one, these are all copper based. I'm gonna see if I can show it to you. They look like little planets, don't they? And it has the orangish red is cuprite. This one has some green, which is dioptase. Some of them will have malachite. The shadowkite is this really beautiful turquoise color right here. And with these, the ones that I have at home, which come from the Congo and are large, cost hundreds of dollars. And these are between 45 and 35. I mean, 55 and 35, they're quite reasonable for people to have. So you can have I like to put them by my bed because sometimes when you travel, you enter into those realms and it's nice to have a friend when you do. So I have 2 flats of these, and this particular shadowkite comes from Namibia, right next to, do you remember the quantum quattro quartz? That came out, it was very popular in the metaphysical world for quite a while, and that mine is now closed. These come from a mine right next to it. Adjacent? Yes. So it's really similar material, and I have another flat of those down there, because I just got them. These are very cool. This is from the Congo, and these are, see, that's dioptase. There's dioptase. So I'm going to sit down and talk about it. And these are also pseudomorphs, which means one mineral changes to another, also very cool. But dioptase is a copper-based mineral, that deep dark green. That's the heart I love it. And it is a stone. It's called the stone of forgiveness. And one of the things that means, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to forgive all them that did me wrong. That's not what it means at all. When your heart is weary and beleaguered, when you are carrying around energies and guilt from past lives, stuff you've done tons of work to fix, and you still can't believe it's fixed, you have to forgive yourself. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. Making mistakes is not the problem. The problem is refusing to admit it, letting it grow toxic, and then making it all over again. So a dioptase allows us to forgive ourselves. It is a wonderful stone for anyone, for instance, who is working in metaphysical realm. It's for prosperity because it allows you to let go all of the hype, the potential BS, the ego trip that you can get on when you do some really good work. Everyone says, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's unhelpful. We want to have a humble heart to do our work. So dioptase is amazing. And this dioptase, which is from the Congo, is also full of shadowkite. So what a wonderful combination. So I bought a whole flat of these. And some of them, they're all different. You can play with them and ask them questions when you come around, or those of you who are coming by on Tuesday for the mineral class can come and see them then, and maybe you can pick out your own. But I love them, and they make wonderful, wonderful gifts to ourselves. Moving on along. I'm moving fairly quickly now because I want to get finished as much as I can with what we have here. So I'll come over to here. Now over here, I have some really pretty. I love this stuff. That's honey calcite from China. Excuse me. And honey calcite brings joy. It's full of rainbows. I've been talking too long, I can tell. And it's absolutely wonderful. I like to, it's great to give to children for them to put in their room. It's great for someone who is depressed. Just to lighten the energy around them. And I find it very wonderful. I'm gonna go over here. I chip a small stone and just tell you a teeny bit about some of the things that I have. And this is a golden labradorite. And golden labradorite is not common, although you can find it. These are little tumbles, so they're not expensive. They're great to use to make little grids or to do body work or to carry in your pocket. And they have some of the same aspects of protection and growth that labradorite has. But the golden color really works well with the will. And oftentimes our will is feeling shut down. Golden labradorite helps open that up. Not in a way of, I'll do whatever I want to whomever I want, but in the way of, I now can access my own power, strength, and intellect, so I can use it for myself and for the greater good. I have some very nice pieces of tumbled charoite. And these are beautiful. We make very wonderful necklaces or tumbles or pocket stones. And charoite comes from Siberia. And it's relatively rare. It's a lot rarer now than it used to be. So I get it whenever I can. Of course, this is aquamarine rough for people who want to play with aquamarine and use it. These pieces are not expensive. Aquamarine is stone of courage that allows you to speak your heart's truth, which is one of the most difficult things for most of us to do. Also, let's see. This, have any of you ever heard of or worked with petalite? Have two kinds of the petalite. This is some of the pink petalite from South Africa, which softens a hard heart, which lets your heart fall in line with what and who you truly are in the heart essence of all things. And these are petalites, and they're quite wonderful. From Brazil, that are crystalline, and these are quite magical because they work with helping to promote tranquility and also the energy that arises from it. Not the kind of tranquility where you just sit there, but the kind of tranquility from which ideas, creativity, new beginnings are generated. So, putting these back on the shelf. Lots of things in here. Here, we have some very nice tumbled kunzites. Kunzite is a stone that I truly love, and when I've done work with people who are addicted, particularly to drugs or alcohol, but it also can work for anyone who is obsessed on one particular thing that keeps them from really being able to be fully human. Addicts are addicts because there's a hole in their heart. I've talked to many drug addicts, and one of the things they will almost all say to a man, to a woman, is the first time I got a hit off the crack pipe, it was the most wonderful. I never felt so peaceful. I never felt so wonderful. And I never felt that way again. Kunzite allows that heart to fill with understanding the potential for the unconditional love that surrounds us all. That's what you tap into with the first hit on the crack pipe. But you can't stay there unless you're willing to do the hard and painful work of finding out where the barriers are, the blockades are, the scars, the cracks, all the things, and heal yourself. So being reminded that you are loved, because all addicts feel not only that they're not loved, but they don't deserve to be ever. It is an incredibly healing and empowering process. And I love kunzite. It's a favorite, beautiful thing. Okay. We also have pink petalite that is tumbled. And this stuff is beautiful. So anyone who's attracted to petalite may want a piece of this. And all of these are inexpensive, which is what I like. I'm trying to find, oh, here we go. Now, one of the rarest stones on earth is red beryl. Now, those of you who know about beryl, beryls are emeralds, aquamarine, morganite, heliodor, goshenite is the white beryl. The red beryl is found in only one place on earth, and that is the Wawa Mountains of Utah. It is a wonderful stone. Beryls are the stones of exaltation. Emerald is a beryl. It exalts the heart, the green ray. Heliodor exalts the will. This means that you are able to open, look, perceive what the next level of, your consciousness and existence can be, and actually work towards getting there. I was very happy. I don't have too many of these here with me today, but I will show you. You can see how pretty and red they are. And they have the traditional barrel shape. And these little red barrels are $20. You will never find one for that, I promise. And I was very happy to have them and being able to share them to anyone who is attracted to them and feels like that should be a part of their crystal kit, stone arsenal collection, whatever you wish to call it. And it's a wonderful thing for laying on a stone. I have tumbled turley. Oh, I have something very wonderful. These are rhodosites. Are any of you familiar with rhodosite? Not rhodosite. No, rhodosite is different. Yeah. I'll show you. I have some rhodosite. God knows it. Rhodosite is from Madagascar. And for a long time, it wasn't allowed out of the country. It's used by, the shamans and medicine people, indigenous to Madagascar. They would use it to work with the monsoons and the rainfall. It accentuates the energy of any other stone and is incredible for doing pretty much any kind of metaphysical, magical, or shamanic work. Here a second. Yes. Hold both your hands up, palms upright. There you go. And the magical little flower. They're very powerful. Thank you. You're very welcome. That's really the only way. You can't really show them, they're too tiny, but you can sure feel them. Wow. And, they will activate palm chakra like nothing else. Wow. I have a friend whose idea of fine meditation is to take them to the third eye chakra. And that can be a very interesting voyage. Okay. I'm looking for one other thing. Here, put it over here. Yes, because you were talking about rhodonite. And I love rhodonite. And a few years back, I was in Tucson and we saw this pile of incredible red stone on a dealer's table from Brazil. What is this? He said, what is this? He said, it's rhodonite. Oh, it just can't be. Well, yes, it can. Check out that color. Oh, wow. And most of this was bought up at an incredibly large price, mind you, pretty much instantly. But I fortunately was able to get some, and these were pieces left over from chopping the rocks together. And it can be yours if you like this. Does anyone here, if you ever work with rhodonite or like it? Rhodonite is a great heartstone. And this is my perspective, and please know when I talk about these things, I don't mean this is the only way these can be used. This is individual. Your intuition is as good as mine, is as good as anybody else's. What works for you, what resonates for you is perfect. But rhodonite is also a stone. When you have had severe heartbreak And who hasn't, because it's part of life. If you're willing to love passionately, you're gonna get your heart broken. But you can't, trying to heal so you can love again and reach that again seems out of reach. Rhodonite is a stone that helps heal your heart and open the gateway for love to re-enter in all of its forms. Unconditional and passionate. So I truly, recommend it. It's a great stone to give to somebody that, for instance, has gone through a breakup and feels like it's not worth it. And they know it is worth it, but you can't talk them into that. So you just say, here, give them a stone metaphor for the gift you truly want to give them. And if it helps, give thanks. If it doesn't help, well, I'll bet you it is. Okay. We have 10 minutes left, so let's see what else I can get through here. I wanted to tell you, and this is something that you can't really, it's getting harder and harder to find. So if you don't have some, I would get some because it's so wonderful. Anybody who has a rock store or does readings or anything is going to eventually have that person that comes in and says, so-and-so has put a curse on you. How do I get rid of it? Or, my neighbor is showing me the evil eye. What do I do? So I will say, not what I want to say, which is, nobody can do any of those things if you don't let them. But that really doesn't happen. I will say, this stone, which is chiaotolite, the variety of andalusite, this is mined in China. And if you look carefully, you can see it has a cross on it. It's often called a cross stone. And gypsies used to use that to ward off the evil eye. But here is sort of how it works. You say, not in words, but in stone words, this energy is not mine. It belongs to you. I am sending it back to you with the highest degree of love for you to use it for your soul's growth. Don't forget about it. Because anybody who's sending out that kind of hatred and negativity is miserable. They need to be able to deal with those things. You cannot give them open compassion because they will aim, their sword of pain at you because they're desperate to free themselves from it. But the only way they can free themselves from it is to receive it, own it, and transmute it themselves. And they will either succeed or not. But that is not your problem. So I recommend chiaotolite for anyone who has a situation like that. Very, very helpful. I have many other things in my little kit, but I doubt we will get to all of them. But one thing I'll talk about, and you may have heard of this, this is called often nirvana quartz, and it's a kind of solution quartz found in the high Himalayas, in Kudu Pass. And they come in beautiful shades of pink and in white, and they're really cool. They have a very high vibration. And you can work with these, particularly at the level of the ground chakra, to cleanse it and balance it with the rest of your body. Because some of these pieces have red hematite, which takes it to the root. And when I was talking earlier about people whose feet haven't touched the ground, the root and the crown connect. There needs to be a free flow between them. So that means our awareness needs to be everywhere, including that which is below the level of consciousness. That's where the it is. That can drive us to act in ways we normally wouldn't if we really thought about it. So I totally recommend this for anyone who wishes to work with energies and efforts of enlightenment. What's it called? Nirvana quartz. So it is now 5 minutes to 4. We're almost done. So I want to see if any of y'all have any questions. I will finish up by thanking everyone for coming and listening to our talk. I'm hoping that everyone can come over on Tuesday and buy some rocks if they want some. And if not, you can come in and talk to me, because that's always fun, and talking about rocks is something I never mind doing, never. Hopefully by then I'll have my voice back a little bit better too. And I'll show you this one because it's wonderful, isn't it? Mm-hmm. This is what is called, you'll hear it now called blue smoke quartz, blue mist. Comes from Colombia. Mm. And these are gem crystals from the very first find, which you no longer can get. And I love them. We used to call them, way back in the day, Veil of Isis. But we stopped calling them that for obvious reasons. Because it didn't, but I, think that possibly, reclaiming the name of Isis in power, grace, glory, and goodness is a very good idea. Because she is, the primal earth goddess, great goddess, emerging out of Egypt. So these crystals, as you can see, they look like there's mist inside, almost like smoke. What that actually is an inclusion of a mineral called physiolite. It's kind of cool. And it took a long time for people to actually figure out what it is. When you slice these, not this one, mind you, and polish them, they are trapeche. You know what trapeche is? Trapeche is a kind of twinning. Okay. So when you slice the crystal, you'll see, like if there's a trapeche emerald, it's like a slice of pie, 6. There'll be black in between them and the green. They're really pretty. They're really cool. They have a wonderful energy. So the things, quartz crystals, and I don't have time to talk about twinning in quartz. That's very complicated and has nothing to do with two crystals going together. But this brings with it a really wonderful and amazing energy because it shows us the connections you don't see, but that exist inside us. And it allows us to really get to know them. What did twine together to create this perspective that I have, this being that I have, these attractions that I have, why are they there? So I like working with them and working with, like, the crystal that I wear is the crystal barrel, 6-link twin. The 6-link twin means that it twins 3 times. And it keeps you safe when you're walking through a big rock show, you're walking in between the dimensions, and all this energy everywhere. So you can, keep your focus. And I really like that. So I know that our time is actually up. So I will say goodbye to all of you who joined us on Zoom. Thank you so much. I hope we get to see you all on Tuesday if you want to come. And if not, give us a call. Much love to all of you. And thank you so much for attending. Many blessings to everyone. And to you too. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Sharon.
So I didn't really talk about the phenocite, but we have it. I'll show it to you. Because phenocite is a stone of high ascension. For those of you who are still here, you're welcome to hear whatever we have to say. I'm sure Bob will be here. What did I do with the thing of phenocite? Did I put it up here? Crystal barrel, nirvana, rhodonite. It's in one of these boxes. Put it over here. No. Here. Here. Phenocite. Yes. So, what phenocite do you want to see? It's hard for me. I don't have my scale with me. I'll see if Bob has one. So we can do that. But what is it for? Phenocite is a stone of ascension. And it has many possible uses, but it really allows you to see and perceive in the higher realms. It is a stone for guidance in the upper realms. Many people who work with shamanism, for instance, and I'm using that because it gives the template. There are 3 realms: the lower realm, which is below the earth, below our feet; the middle realm, here we are, but there's magic all around us; and the upper realms, which many people might call the celestial realm. I don't really care what people call things, but many people care very much. So I will honor their path. But phenakite helps keep that clear. It has a very clear light. And sometimes, you know, we did a guided meditation today in the Lemurian workshop where we were moving through deep space where it's very dark and there are all the stars. And sometimes, you know, that's where the light is. It's phenakite exemplifies the light in the heart of darkness. Does that make sense to you? I know you're one of the ones who came in to get some phenakite.
I did, yeah. I use it to initiate myself and other clients to the other realms. Open the door.
It's a great initiation step. And many people are receiving initiations when they are not ready for them.
It's a personal journey.
That it is. So if you have any, you know, if you want to come and look at these, you're welcome to. And those of you who are sitting here, you're welcome to go and look at the rocks and bring them up to me. And if you see something you like, I'll tell you about it.
And the price of meat by the gram?
Yes, and I don't have my scale here with me, but I wasn't, you know, because our sale is actually Tuesday, but we'll work it out. I'm sure Bob and Kathy have a scale somewhere.
I could just pick it out and come with it. Pick it
Oh,
out.
that's certainly true. And for anyone who's interested in six-wing twins, which are gone now, I have some. That's the Chrysoberyl.
We have a really good.
Look
how clear that is.
Right,
Between the cut.
we have all different.
I like this one because it's not easy to lose. Look, the tiny one.
Right, and you know the big ones cost more than the little ones.
I do
correct?
know.
Not trying to be obnoxious.
No, but if they're going to cost way. So I have some that are this size.
Yes, and the little ones are sweet,
Yes.
but not
I don't
necessarily what
see
you're.
well and
I get that.
lose track.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Do you have a gram scale in here out there?